In this video, we're going to introduce you to some of the great new responsive features found in the latest release of Indigo Studio. Let's take a look. When you pick the browser viewport, you'll see a couple of new options. One is to start with a mobile-first approach, or you can pick a responsive layout, which is more traditional desktop or tablet. So let's just do mobile first. You should be seeing a Bootstrap container, which has been added to the design canvas. This is because Indigo Studio uses Bootstrap to do the responsive stuff. So in addition to the Bootstrap container, you would see a secondary dropdown. The secondary dropdown actually has the 4 breakpoints available via Bootstrap. One is for the phone, tablet, desktop, and large desktop. You would see that by default, we have added something called a row, which is the same as Bootstrap row. And inside the row, there are 3 cells. The row actually has to have at least 1 cell. So the Bootstrap container uses a 12-column structure for doing layout. In this case, the cell already has a span of 12 columns. If I adjust it from the right side, you can see that we're adjusting the column span. If I have it at 6 for the first cell, I select the second cell and also adjust it to 6. You'll see that there's just enough space for the second cell to stack alongside. You can edit a cell by double-clicking or by dragging and dropping something into the cell. And add some content in here. Let's add a title. I'm just doing Alt-click and searching for a title. You'll also notice that elements which are added into the cell also have the concept of column span. So they're not adjusted via pixels, but the horizontal width is in multiples of column size. So if I want to shrink the size of this title as I'm resizing this edge, you'll see that I'm also adjusting the column span. So while in this edit mode, I can edit the second cell by just single selecting, or I can exit out of here and just try dragging and dropping. From here, I'm just going to drag and drop, and as I'm hovering on top of the cell, I get this invitation to hold space. I can hold space, and you can see that the image also gets resized directly. Now, a cell can contain more than one UI element. Let's edit the second cell. The height of the cell is kind of determined by its contents. As you add more content to the cell, it will resize accordingly. In this case, let's add another title. As you see, it automatically went right below the image, and that's typical of the web fashion where things don't overlap. If there's not enough room, the text will just stack. So in this cell, we have more than one element. The other thing to notice is that the elements by themselves have a default bottom margin. That's how you'd like to space out elements inside the cell, and that's more web-friendly to begin with. Let's exit out of this edit mode. Quickly duplicate this cell because that's pretty much the layout I would like. So I can use the duplicate function here. For the second block, I can just space select for the special select behavior, and I can pick a new image. If I would like to space out this content block, you can just select the last element inside that cell and give it more of a bottom margin. Let's give it a bottom margin of 30. So you have your basic phone layout done. Now you would like to create a tablet layout. That's where this responsive views picker comes in handy. There are shortcuts available to quickly switch between the viewports. So I go to the tablet layout. What I would like is these 2 cells to basically stack side by side and have this featured article alone spanning the entire width. For that, I can just select that cell and adjust its width to be only 6 columns wide. Same thing for this one. If I want the buttons to actually not be that wide, I can just select the buttons here and give them a span of, say, 4. In typical Bootstrap fashion, the customizations you're making for a form factor, say tablet, is actually done on top of the phone form factor. If you look at the property editor, we have this section called Responsive Options for Tablet. All of the properties you see in here, they're originally inherited from the phone form factor, but any changes you make for the tablet form factor are actually preserved. Just to make it a little bit clearer, let's create a desktop layout that is slightly different than a tablet layout. Again, responsive views picker, pick desktop, and in this layout, what I would really like is for this image and text to be side by side. So for that, I can just select the image and adjust its width to say, okay, you need to have a column span of 7. And for the rest, I can just give it a column span of 5, because that's the amount of space remaining in the 12-column layout. To space out elements from the image, I can just select the image and give it a margin on the right side. The changes I'm making here are, again, changes on top of the tablet, and they're unique for this particular desktop. In order to see how this actually works responsively, just hit Run Screen. As I resize my viewport, you can see the responsive thing kicking in. Once it hits the tablet view, it actually switches to the tablet layout. If I keep shrinking it, it will switch to the phone layout.